Let's be real, parenting is not easy, but you are not alone. Welcome to the Parent Prescription, a podcast where I will give you real, practical advice to help you navigate the ups and downs of raising healthy, happy children without losing your mind. Okay. All right. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, MLK Day, holidays, back to back to back. Yes, the holidays are over, and I'm sure for many families, they had a joyful time. But for some children and families, the holidays can actually be a bit stressful. And those challenges don't always end when the decorations come down, okay? And so changes in routine, heightened expectations, big emotions can linger, and they can take a real toll on the mental health of a child, just like it can for adults, okay? So today we're going to talk about how the holidays can impact the children emotionally and what signs parents should look for and practical ways that families can support their children during this season, especially as they go back to school, okay? I'm joined by a licensed master's social worker and a licensed marriage and family therapist today that work closely with children and will help break this down in a practical, reassuring way. So let's get into this dose of Dr. C. Okay, so parent prescription time, you guys. So I told you I would have some guests with me today. I'm always excited when I have guests, but so I've got Miss Aja and I've got Miss Avis here. You may have seen them around Texarkana community. They are I'm going to let them tell you their background so that you can know from them what they do.
So I'm Aja Walker, and I have been doing what I do for about 6 years now. Marriage and family therapist. Also do grief counseling. I work with the youth. I do mental health first aid as well. And right now, my main job is group counseling and family intervention counseling. So this is something that I love. I think this is my calling, my purpose that God has for me. And I really, truly enjoy what I do.
Yeah, I didn't bring somebody on here that doesn't enjoy what they do.
Yeah.
Come on. All right, Miss Avis.
Hey, so I am Avis. I am a mental health therapist. I'm a licensed social worker, and I have been doing what I've been doing. I've been in the mental health field for about 12 years, and so I love it. I love working with children. I work with children and adults, but I love the babies, and so I'm just here. Hi, y'all.
So we are talking about how going back to school after the holidays or getting back in the swing of things can sometimes be emotionally stressful or draining to kids, and how their parents and their families can support them and help them or know when there's something that's off, okay? So let's start by talking about how the holidays can even be emotionally, how that can feel emotionally draining or can be an emotional time for children. What do y'all think?
So it's something that is inevitable, I feel like, especially because of the breaks, which break routines, which children need. And once they start getting accustomed to the routine, then boom, they got this big break. And so that's something that can hinder children, especially if it's something they need. Some children have to have that stability part of it. And when you break that cycle, they don't know how to get back into the routine as easily as some other children. So I feel like that's a huge part of it, the stability part.
Right.
If you want to help your child in this area, is that part of the question, or we haven't got that yet? Okay.
You got this, girl.
To help your child with that part, which is, because I'm just talking about the routine and stability part of it, it's something that you are, as a parent, as an adult, as a guardian, are going to have to really stick your neck out there and be very purposeful, intentional with trying to keep them back on track. So do the bedtime routine, do the schedule, what we're doing at this, like get on it and make them stay on it as well. even though, yes, this week we might be off work or we're not doing something, but let them get up and do things. Give them something to do. That way they're not just mind turned completely off for the whole week. And now we try to jump back into it on Monday.
And you have to think about it. The holiday break is like back to back. So we have Thanksgiving break. We go back for 2 weeks, and in school when they go back, usually it's not
Ain't doing nothing.
Ain't doing anything.
Ain't doing nothing.
So they're having fun because it's holiday time. So they're not going back and taking tests and learning things. They might be reviewing, but they're not. They're doing movies and pajama day and things like that. So then they get out for another 2 or 3 weeks. And then we have another day off for MLK. It's like back to back to back. And then excitement and fun, and cousins are coming over, and it's just all over the place. And so you have to know your child. You have to know your child. If you have a kid that if you are off on that routine, even if you're out of town and you're off and they're cranky and they're mean and they're stressing everybody out because they're off before they go back to school. As she was talking about getting back in routine, don't wait until Sunday night.
Thank you.
Please don't.
Don't wait until Sunday night. Say, hey, we got to be back in bed at 9 o'clock.
Exactly.
When they stayed up to 2 a.m. the night before playing their video games.
Yes,
Roblox, right? Or Fortnite or whatever. You want to make sure that we start that in advance so that we can get back in the swing of things. Okay?
And so another big thing too, you talked about, the holidays, even when it comes to starting Thanksgiving, like you said, we're seeing family, we're seeing cousins, and let's not talk about situations where you may have a divided family where y'all have to swap holidays. Maybe you wanted to be with dad for Thanksgiving, but you have to be with mom, or maybe you wanted to be with mom for Christmas and you have to be with dad. So you also have to think about all of those feelings and emotions that comes with that as well, just the family dynamics, seeing a lot of people. We may have families who are very, very big on Christmas because they may have the stability or the finances to celebrate really big.
Sure.
But then you have other people who may not. So even coming back into school, kids are talking about what they got for Christmas. They're talking about where they got to go. Some people went to Disney World. They got to go to beaches and got to go on cruises and things like that. And so,
not my kids.
Right, not mine either. No, not I. And so you have this big dopamine boost, and you have all of this energy, and a lot of kids, they don't know how to navigate that in the moment, and so you may not see those feelings show up until it's time for school to start back, and now they don't know how to regulate it and how to control it.
Right. That's very true.
That's good. That's good.
And even going to where exactly down the road you're headed, and looking at the other aspect of things with some kids not being able to have the necessities. So going to school and getting that lunch, they look forward to that.
Yeah.
And now that we don't have school, it's like, now what? Where are we getting this food from? Or, where am I getting my everyday meal that I could count on? So we also have to take that into consideration. Prayerfully, I know there's some schools that still continue to do the free lunch, but that's something that people don't even think about. Like, school is closed, so how's a child getting breakfast and lunch?
When they're either their parent may be still working, or they're latchkey kids and they're at home and they're trying to make do.
Exactly.
Or now they're the daycare for their younger siblings because their parents still have to work.
True.
And so they're now stressed out because they've taken on another role during the holiday and they're not having all the fun. So there are both sides of it.
Yeah, that's true.
So what does that look like? So how do you know if your child is overwhelmed or stressed? Like, what does that look like in children? Or is there, like, it looks different in different age groups? Like, what does that look like? How does that show up?
It definitely looks different in different age groups. For the babies, you're going to see them whining more. You're going to see them throwing tantrums. They are more outwardly displaying their emotions. Whereas in the middle-aged children, maybe between 8, 12, 13, before you hit the big teens, they're going to be complaining. Probably, I don't like school. I don't want to go. Having a more difficult time showing up. The older kids, they'll be more withdrawn. They're more internally driven when it comes to their emotions. And so
I agree.
They're going to be the ones who are not wanting to be around people. They are isolating. They may be more sarcastic, giving more of what we call attitude, things like that. So, I mean, just some of those. And some of these, y'all may be thinking, hey, my kid acts like that anyway.
Every day.
If your child is acting like that, every day, it is important as parents for you to try to build a connection and try to figure out, what it is that's happening to my child. What is happening with my child? just kind of trying to explore and talk to them, communicate. Talk to your kids.
Yes.
Even if they don't want to talk to you, find ways. There are ways.
Communication is very important. And I'm talking about from the time they're babies and you're bonding with them until the time they're teenagers and they don't really want to talk to you. But you're trying to still continue that same bond so that you can know the cues. You have to know your children. You can know the cues when something is off, when something is not right. Okay? And then we don't need to mistake it for bad behavior or poor behavior. If we're coming back into things and you go, we don't have issues. We only have issues when we get out of our routine. We go back from holidays and we always are getting in trouble at school. We're mouthy to the teachers. We're tired and falling asleep. You have to remember that their whole routine was just shifted back. They've had 2 weeks off. And so you have to work on, bedtime, and you have to work on these things because it's been off. And so, but don't just say we're having bad behavior.
Right. Like their brains have to naturally reintegrate into being in a routine because they've been set off. Like you have to be able to have that time just to regroup, to reset. Right. And so again, keeping some sort of routine even through the breaks, the kid's not gonna like it. It's okay. They don't have to like it. We'll be grateful because of the impact that it has once they go back, because there has to be structure.
Agree.
Yep. Consistent structure.
When should parents be concerned? Like, when is it like, okay, should I be concerned or not? When should they be like, okay, wait a minute, this is more than just off of routine. Something's wrong.
So you want to look for patterns. It is the patterns that you want to look for. So like you said, if it's just coming off the break and you notice, parents pay attention to your children, and you notice that it's just on Monday mornings, because who likes working on a Monday morning, right? So even the weekends kind of give us a smaller display of what that looks like. Exactly. So think of it on a larger scale when you have the 2 weeks. So if after 2 or 3 weeks you're still having these behaviors, or you feel like they are getting worse and escalating, that's when we want to kind of put a red flag up and kind of question it and see what's really going on. Why haven't we bounced back yet?
Yeah. I agree, especially with the younger kids. It could take them a while to, for you to start back daycare drop off, or to get them back in the routine of leaving you, because they might have been so used to you being at home with them or just being there with their siblings. And now it's like, oh, I got to go back. So, give them a little more grace. Now, the older kids who've been in a little longer, and, you in 6th grade, what's about to happen. We're going back to school. After 2 or 3 days, if they still just super clingy and they're just complaining all the time, and you see that the attitude at school is like totally shifted, it's changed, where it's now way more negative than, what you're used to seeing, then that's a red flag. I mean, we want to go ahead and address it. Don't let it go on too long. And talk to your administrators, the teachers, the people that are there that see your children most of the time, because they will help you be able to distinguish, okay, this is out of the norm for sure. Yes, you want to say, I know my child, but the people that know them, that's been there with them 9-10 hours a day, they know them too. So listen to them.
And one of the most important things when it comes to communicating with your children, it is validating their feelings, validating what they feel first before you try to correct it. So always try to get an understanding of what's going on, because they're humans too. It's important for us as parents to self-regulate as well, because sometimes our kids trigger us. A lot of us don't want to admit that, but sometimes our kids trigger us too. So it is really important for us to check ourselves and our moods and how we're coming, because just how we can sense their attitude, they can sense ours.
That's true. That's true.
And if we come at them wrong, yes, they are children and they should be respectable towards us. But if we come at them in a negative way, please expect they might come at us the same way. And so we have to check ourselves.
So you're saying we can trigger our children?
What, girl?
I know Jackson, Thomas, and Casey better not be triggered. No, just joking. We can trigger. Did you guys hear that, parents? I know this is for you. This is called the parent prescription to help you with your children, but we're trying to help you too. Understand that you can trigger your children. You can be their trigger.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay?
So true.
We're not trying to be mean to you. We're just telling you what we're telling you.
And we're parents, so we know.
All of us are parents. And like we said at the very beginning, communication, y'all. If once you just break down and really listen to your child, you don't have to go and be a detective and figure it out. They're saying it. Most of the times they are outright telling you what's going on. It's just the way that they're saying it might sound different, but give them that space to talk to you. Make sure you're opening up for them to talk to you. And in a comfortable and safe space, not just, on the drive to school, get out, have a good day type of thing. And that's the only time there's room to talk. Make it where it's a priority in your life, in your household, that this communication that we're opening up with between parent and child is important. And I want to hear what's going on in your life, what you have to say, how do you feel, and do it vice versa. Be the role model. Let them see this is what I want talking about. This is how I want us to talk, so that they can learn from you.
Yeah. And we've thrown these two words around, behavior and communication, separately, but it is really important to understand that behavior is communication. You may not always get words of expression, especially from the little babies.
Yeah.
If you notice that they're clingy, it probably means, hey, they want a little more attention. If they're being whiny or groggy, it could be that they're sleepy. So behavior is communication. And so being able to also recognize this is the importance of paying attention, knowing your children, having conversations with them, having conversations with other caretakers, the other people who see them, maybe to the same extent as you. It all works together.
That's true.
For the good.
Very true.
Yes, communication. Obviously, that's the name of this podcast. Communication. Okay? C is for communication.
Yes.
If we really want you to realize that when children's behaviors change, there's a reason. And as I was listening to these young ladies talk about it, we also have to make sure we have always given that space for our kids to feel comfortable talking to us.
Correct.
So we can't all of a sudden see that something's wrong and expect them to feel open if we've never let them be open.
Right.
So if it's a little later, it's okay. Start it off. They might think it's weird, but start it off by saying, "Hey, go in the room and sit down on the bed. What you doing?"
They don't look at you like this.
What are you doing?
Why are you in my room?
What is happening right now? Am I in trouble? I'm not in trouble. So what are we doing? Put your phone down, parents.
Yes.
Put your device down for a little bit of time. I had a friend that posted just recently. She asked her kid, "Who do you think I love the most? You or my phone?" And she said, Your phone. And she was shocked that her kid said that. And she's a good mama. And she was shocked that her kid said that. And she said, "Mama, you're always on your phone." And so she had to kind of readdress or adjust what she does in her kids' space and time so that she could know, no, you're the most important thing to me. Even if I'm answering calls and I'm doing my work on the phone and things like that, I need to show you that I can put that down and just focus on you and what you're saying. So that's important too.
That is. That's big.
And when it comes to kids feel like they do need to have permission to have certain conversations. It's just like if a child gets in trouble a lot for expressing themselves, when they really need to express themselves, they are going to hold it in and they're not going to let you know. And y'all, it seems scary, but asking your child, "Hey, how do you feel?" Not just what did you do today? Who was someone that made you smile today? What about them made you smile? Tell me something about your emotions. So specifically talking about emotions and feelings and interactions and peer conflict and how to resolve conflict. These are things that helps not only you understand your child's perspective, but help them feel heard and understood. Because if they don't think they can talk to you because you're always mean and mugging, sometimes we do that because sometimes our kids trigger us, right? Yeah, our kids trigger us too. But being able to, yes, give them permission to have those conversations, those difficult conversations.
And once you have opened that door, they really, it just...
Prep yourself.
Yeah.
They keep going. And you may have to hold on to the seat, but they will tell you things and communicate with you things that you never would have imagined if you open the door and let it be comfortable. We got off a little bit. Holidays. It's busy, stressful.
We did a little bit. I'm sorry. Bring it back.
But
Bring us back.
By the way, we are going to do mental check-ins for our kids and things like this. I'm going to bring these two ladies. They're right here in Texarkana. I'm going to use them. You will see them. So we're going to do these so that they can help us know how to check in with our kids during certain times. Okay, so this is not going to be the only time you see them. So I've made new friends. Aren't you proud of me?
Just don't catch us off camera.
We here now. We here.
I've made new friends. I'm proud of myself as a grown up. So if the parents could take one thing away from this, we're talking about kids being stressed or overwhelmed or their emotions changing when they have to get out of routine and go back into a routine, especially after breaks, after holiday breaks, because we just got out of the holiday break. If they could take one thing from us today, from this podcast, what would it be that you would want them to take? I can start.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll start.
Do that.
Just based off of what we've been talking about, communication is the key. Like communicating with your child, making sure there's an open door of communication, even if you have to continually open the door, even if they're shutting it and you're like, especially with our preteens, early teenage age, if they're not really open to you, making sure that you are opening the door of communication so that you can make sure they're good even when they're quiet or withdrawn. So to me, that is the ideal thing. And you need to know if it's time to go to the pediatrician and say, this is outside of the norm. Something else is going on. Or if it's time to get a referral to these ladies so that they can see a counselor and say, I'm not going to let my kid, I'm not going to find out 6 months later that something happened to my kid or something's not right. Or I want somebody to help me communicate with them. So that's my biggest takeaway of this.
Okay. You got yours already?
I would say be a model of self-regulation for your children. So what that means is, like we talked about, being able to check yourself before you approach your child. Make sure you're able to take a step back, a physical step back, take a deep breath. Think about what you're going to say and how it may come across to you. So just be a model of self-regulation for your children. So be able to regulate yourself first. If you have to do a Google search on self-regulation tools, do that. But grounding techniques, this can be, hey, running your hands underwater, taking a deep breath. Like I said, physically taking it. Let's do it. Let's have a coping skills session.
Yes. That would be wonderful.
So that would be my takeaway, being a model of self-regulation for your children. And I think that will help.
Self-regulation.
That's a good idea to do that. I guess my takeaway would be don't ignore the signs. Sometimes we can get dismissive when we, parents, you coming in my room every night, now your head hurt, got it, your head hurt every day because they don't want to go to bed. Maybe that's what you're thinking. It's bedtime now, all of a sudden the head hurt. Or in the mornings, getting ready for school. Oh, I don't feel like it. My stomach is bothering me. Don't ignore those signs. You kind of know your child. If this is something that's going on too long, if they are really playing a part, if they even complaining when they get to school, there might be a sign of something might be really, truly going on. For example, I would just say that I went through this with my child and she never liked to miss school. So I already knew something was up, but I was like, her stomach is hurting. I thought she just wanted to come sleep in my bed, and that was her playing her part. After like a week, I finally took her to the doctor and she needed umbilical hernia surgery. And so this was something that she really, was complaining about, but we miss those things sometimes because we're in our own world, we're on our phones, we're being dismissive about things, and just ignoring it and, just chunking it up to they don't want to go to school or they don't want to go to the appointment or they don't want to, whatever it is. So I would just say, just be mindful of how your child behaves normally, and then what's the change and why, and then just kind of just keep following up with it. Don't ignore the signs. That's what I would say.
Right. And I'm going to throw in one more thing, even though I did my piece. Because I'm feeding off of her because the number one reason for belly pain with kids is constipation. The number two reason is some kind of stress. Some stress. Like belly pain, there's not many things down here that could be causing that. And so when kids are constantly complaining about their belly or headache, but those are really things where we start digging into other reasons when we can't find the reason for the belly pain. It's like, okay, wait a minute. You only complain during the week. Wait a minute. You only complain of this headache during one class period. The same teacher. Why is that? So you start probing and asking questions. And yes, knowing your kids is important. They love school. They have great grades. And then all of a sudden, 6th grade, their grades start going down. Why is that? Is middle school rough? I can go into I will not, but those are definitely signs to look at when you know that your kid likes school, but all of a sudden they don't want to go. Or all of a sudden every morning they have a headache. So make sure we're paying attention to those things.
Yes.
Okay?
And I think a thing too is, remember, sometimes kids do just have things going on. You are looking for patterns. We're not looking for the first time they come and they're complaining of a bellyache, right? You pay attention, and these things happen over time. We're talking about weeks to months of a difference, and not with the bellyache. Like, if it's urgent, take them to, take them to go get checked on. Right? She's here. But when it comes to those subtle things like the attitude, the mood changes, things like that, pay attention. And I understand as adults, yes, we're working. We have other kids. We have things that we're doing and taking care of. Yes, we have to prioritize ourselves too, but make sure we're paying attention to those children as well.
Exactly. You guys, thank you so much for joining our podcast. Thank you, Miss Aja and Miss Avis, for joining me. It was so much fun and so informative.
Yeah, I liked it.
I hope you guys share this. I hope you like it. I hope that you know that these are licensed professionals that are there to help our children, not only that's outside of my realm. So this is with their mental health, which is just as important as their physical health. And it can affect their physical health. So we'll be doing these check-ins sometimes, but just know we just got out of the holidays. We're getting back into the swing of things. If you're seeing some changes, this is for you, and this is for you to share with your friends. And again, thank you for joining the Parent Prescription.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Okay, let's set the Artlist.io. Step by step, raise the whole room higher.